Welcome to another Burgundy with Tweedy video. Came to the woods today hoping for a bit of peace and quiet, but there are helicopters circling overhead, so apologies if the audio is occasionally interrupted. They've been here for a few minutes now, they don't seem to be going away, so I'm just going to get on with it. Hopefully you can hear me okay. Gevrey Chambertin. I'm still working my way through the case I bought from Lay and Wheeler of various different Burgundies, Gevrey Chambertins and Louis Saint-Georges. This is a producer called Domaine Cheneaut, and it's a 2019 vintage. Not really much to say from what's written on the label, doesn't really go into much detail as they rarely do. You can probably hear that helicopter now, can't you? Very tight cork there actually. It's going to be a bit of a struggle to get this out. Apologise for the pained facial expressions. If I plonk that on there, does that in view? I would say a darkish colour. Correspondingly, I'm getting some sort of black cherry type notes initially. Oh God, helicopters. Woody sort of notes. Almost a bit like cocoa powder. This seems to keep happening to me, doesn't it? When I get these sort of more dark cherry kind of cherry characters, I start imagining Black Forest Ghetto. Yeah, and there is some sort of dry, woody, almost sawdusty kind of thing. There is definite sensation in the nose here of something slightly kind of dusty and dry and powdery. Well, that's interesting. But there's definitely a good hit of cherry there in amongst that, and possibly some black currant and possibly hints of licorice, tobacco, that kind of thing. They all seem to quite often go hand in hand in these darker Burgundies, don't they? Yeah, I definitely feel like pipe tobacco is in the mix there. Well, that's interesting nose, quite a lot going on to begin with. Well, that's quite nice on the palate. It is quite rich, quite intense, quite concentrated. Again, I feel like alongside that pretty dense fruit character there, that sort of dark cherry, black cherry fruit character, it is bringing along with it some extra notes of things like licorice, things like tobacco. And that is all actually pretty intense, really. This is definitely not a light, elegant sort of a Gevrey Chambertin. It's quite a sort of dark, moody, pipe smoking kind of a Gevrey Chambertin. Struggling to find quiet bits in between the helicopters. Poured another glass and that's still definitely getting those woody, tobacco-y, now a little bit of struck match even kind of notes here on the nose. Never liked that struck match thing, but it sort of might just be an extension of the wood and the tobacco in this case. Quite intense again on the palate. It's got pretty bold acidity. I think I like that, actually, that's quite nice. And I think there must be a fair amount of tannin there. I feel like I'm noticing it more after I finished the sip. Coats my mouth after finishing a particular sip. Hits a little bit later. And I guess in amongst that, there is a slight savouriness, slight minerality, but it also has pretty intense fruit as well. So I do kind of like that. It's got quite a lot going on. Maybe for me, some of those tobacco-y, woody notes are a little bit over the top at the moment. And I think I would probably rather that settle down a bit. I assume this either is partially at least whole bunch fermentation and or there's a sort of longer than usual amount of wood contact in the barrels at some stage in the winemaking process. Quite woody. I'm still able to enjoy the wine despite that, but I think I would enjoy it slightly more were it a bit less woody, a bit less, slightly less of those, I think we can call those secondary aromas, secondary notes, not just aromas.